any success that we've had on special teams, I'm the guy that gets up here and talks, but it goes back to the support that we have from the head coach on down, the buy-in we have from our staff, and then the buy-in you have from your kids. And that's kind of what I'm going to talk about a little bit today. I'm going to talk about some KOR stuff. I'm going to talk about our scheme and kind of how we break down our practice and some things we do in the spring that are a little bit more competition, kind of get the kids excited and stuff like that. But first few minutes here, I'm going to kind of just talk about our culture of our special teams and kind of what it is. And from a special team standpoint as a coach, some things that you can do to, kind of just tweak just a couple of little things in the way you're doing things that'll help makes things smoother for you on a day-to-day basis. So a couple of notes that I have that I've just kind of picked up along the way from here and there is, everyone's time is equal. We're a product of how we use our time. I use this example. Who in here's got kids? Okay, a lot of guys, right? I got a 5-year-old little boy, and I got a daughter who just turned 8. So needless to say, we're pretty busy. I'm going to gymnastics 3 nights a week. My son's in wrestling. My wife's a teacher, right? We're busy. There's a lot of things that go on that they don't care about from a football standpoint. Their time is equal. And so when you start thinking about it like that, you start thinking about your time, understand that, hey man, what's really important to you as a special teams coordinator might be kickoff return. But what's really important to the DB coach might be the vertical routes that they're seeing this week, or the route combination, or whatever it may be, or the recruiting area that he has, or the guy that's going to be on campus, right? He may not have time to walk into a special team staff meeting every single day and sit down for 20 minutes and listen to, everything kind of go through. So what I've tried to do, and got this kind of somewhere along the lines, is I kind of go and find those coaches. Usually we have about 4 or 5 assistant coaches that'll help coach on the units, and I'll go try to find those guys in their rooms and just catch them for 5 minutes. Hey man, this is what we're doing today. This is the little bit of change you're going to see, right? This is the variation. If there's something big and we need to get together, we'll do it. But that way they don't have to come and sit in a meeting, because what inevitably happens, you call a 10 o'clock meeting, somebody ain't going to walk in until 10:03, okay? Just like these guys are walking in at 1:05 after I started talking at 1, right? Thanks guys, good to see you. Somebody's going to walk in late, so then the other 4 guys are now their day is delayed, right? Now they're a little bit behind. And then if you wait for, okay, we'll do it at noon. Well, what inevitably happens? Your players come over early and they want to watch film, right? Or you got to go do a class check on somebody. There's always something that can be done. And when you try to block off a schedule and say, hey, I'm going to take 30 minutes out of the day, well, that 30 minutes may turn into 45. And everybody's time is equal. And as a special teams coordinator, if I respect your time, if I can come steal 2 minutes while you're in your office, I'll probably hold your attention for 2 minutes, right? I can probably keep you locked in, and this is what we're doing for about 2 minutes. If I get you in the full staff room with 10 guys, what's going to happen? We're going to get on our phones, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, something else is going to happen, somebody's going to need something. So managing your time as a coordinator is also managing the time, not just that you use in practice and those kind of things, but the time that you use with your staff, right? Because everybody has something else that's more important than special teams, other than the special teams coordinator. That's it, right? My head coach is an O-line guy. I said, when made me the special teams coordinator, I said, what do you want to be on special teams? He goes, I have no idea, but I want to be good. Okay, well, that's easy. Let me go get that done, right? But that's what, everybody wants results. And as the special teams coordinator, it is the most important thing to you. So you have to respect other people's time. And if you do that and say, hey, man, I don't need 30 minutes from you in a meeting. What I need 30 minutes from you on the field. If you'll be locked in, you'll be ready to go for special teams on the field and coach, that's when I'll get the most out of it. I don't need it in a meeting. I need it on the field, because as a special teams coordinator, you can't be everywhere at once on the field. So having that. Plan your work and work your plan. Okay, I heard that a long time ago. Plan your work and work your plan. Going into the week, right? Have an idea and understand going into the entire week is kind of laid out. I always sit and game plan on Sunday, and I usually script everything for the week from a special team standpoint on Sunday night. Now, you're going to change some things, right? You don't get the rep you want on Tuesday. You're going to redo it on Thursday or whatever it may be, however your practice is set up. But have a plan and then work that plan, right? Don't just go out there and say, okay, what are we going to do today? We're going to do punt. Have a plan and work your plan. Never doubt your ability to coach or your team's ability to play well, okay? And I'm guilty of this too. You'll sit there on a Sunday night and you'll game plan something and you'll find an advantage and you'll love it as a special teams coordinator. Go, hey man, We got this. We can do this. We can go execute this. This can get us a big play. And then you go through the week, and if it doesn't go just perfect, what do we all want to do? Scratch. Mark it off, right? Or you may even go great all week, and you get to the game, and it's that moment, that one moment. Like, hey, man, this is why you call it. It's 4th and 3. This is why you call it. And what do? We go to the safe call, right? We go to the easy thing because we don't want to make the mistake. If you have something that you believe in, then run it. Otherwise, don't practice it because you're wasting reps, you're wasting time, you're wasting effort and energy. But if you're going to put the energy in on a Sunday or Monday night to game plan it, then go practice it and go run it. You wouldn't practice a whole bunch of offensive plays you're not going to run, right? Or defensive plays you're not going to run. You wouldn't run a bunch of blitzes all week that you're not actually going to run in a game. So why would you do anything different on special teams? Recognize what you want and reinforce it. Keep the big dogs fed, right? Find ways to get guys involved. Young guys on special teams is huge, right? And you want to keep reinforcing when they do something well. The other thing is if you got somebody that doesn't do a lot of things well, but all of a sudden you see it, what should you do? You should reinforce it, right? Point out the positive and get those guys going a little bit on special teams. And then watch good players, watch what they do in the NFL and the NCAA, name it and coach it. It's unbelievable to me when we talk about our culture, and I'm going to continue to talk about it a little bit. I'll give you a great example. Ohio State and Oregon play earlier in the season, right? I was talking with somebody about this earlier, and there's a great clip. Oregon's kicking off from the 50 after a penalty. They squib it. Hits the Ohio State player. They end up recovering it, right? Huge momentum play for Oregon. Helped them win that game. So I put that into our video system, and I showed it to our guys, and we started practicing it. Well, we call it duck, okay? Well, now if you go to any of our kids, that's a one word that they can recognize. You go to any of our kids that are on our kickoff team, you say, hey, what's duck? They're going to know exactly, hey, that's when we're kicking off after a penalty from the 50-yard line. We're going to squib it, and here's why. 1, 2, 3, 4. Here's the reasons why, right? And something simple as that, as being able to give them an example from an NFL game, from another team, whatever it may be, you give them that example, and all of a sudden that light goes off, and they have something they can remember it. They watch film of Eastern Kentucky every single day. They don't watch a lot of film of Ohio State and Oregon, right? They don't watch a lot of NFL film. They watch it on TV, but they don't watch it in a meeting. So all of a sudden, when you pull up that clip, oh man, I'm going to remember this one, right? So if you can find ways to name things like that and put an emphasis on them that way, you're going to have a better chance of those kids remembering those kind of things, okay? One of the other things I always talk about is your progression as a teacher, right? That's all we are. Who in here was an education major in college? Hands up, right? I was one of those as well. End up being all you're doing is teaching, right? I just teach kickoff return and punt coverage. I'm not teaching, sociology and U.S. history. That's the difference. Some of you guys are doing both. I respect the hell out of you for doing that. But there's 5 reps that a guy can get, right? There's a paper rep where he's going to read it. If you're going to hand him something. Believe it or not, still handing kids a scouting report, a paper scouting report in 2025 is something I think you can still get out of. Okay, there's a film rep. They're going to see it. There's a walkthrough rep. They're going to feel it slow. There's an individual rep, which we're going to show here in a little bit, where they feel it medium, and then there's a team rep where they feel it fast. And then there's another rep that I have that's not even up there. That's a game rep, right? I tell my guys all the time, I want your best rep to happen on Saturday. If your best kickoff cover you do all week is on Wednesday, you're doing something wrong, right? I need it to be good on Saturday. I need it to be good on Friday night, whenever you're playing. Right? So I understand that there's a teaching progression, and you want the kids to practice hard, and you want the kids to get the most out of the practice, and you've got to do those things. But at the same time, right, there has to be an understanding of what we're working towards and what we're building towards. You don't just go out and run as fast as you can the first time. You've got to build to it. If you hit all 5 of those reps, every kid's different, right? There's some kids that are going to understand it the second they see it on paper. They're going to know exactly what they're supposed to do. They're going to be able to execute it. There's going to be some kids that's going to take all 5 reps and they're still going to mess it up, right? We all know those. Some of you guys are laughing right now because you're like, I know exactly who that kid is on my team, right? So you've got to be able to diversify what you're doing as a teacher and not do the exact same thing every single time, right? And change it up a little bit so that you give you guys an opportunity to have success, okay? So talking about culture. At Eastern Kentucky University, we refer to our special teams as SWAT, okay? I don't ever start a special teams meeting, and if you walked into one, I'm going to break it down. There's going to be music playing when the guys walk in, right? There's always music playing. When they walk in, we're going to break it down on SWAT on 3 to start the meeting, right? And they know and they're able to lock in and they've bought into it, right? And they take a lot of pride in it. So what is SWAT? Well, by definition, SWAT is Special Weapons and Tactics, right? SWAT is a designated law enforcement team whose members are recruited, selected, and trained, equipped and assigned to resolve critical incidents involving threat to public safety, which would otherwise exceed the capabilities of traditional law enforcement, first responders, and or investigative units. Okay, that's great, Coach. That sounds cool. What in the world does that have to do with football, right? Well, here's what we've done, okay? We transitioned it over to what's it mean for EKU football, okay? A designated special team whose members are recruited, selected, and trained, which is what we do, right? We recruit the guys, we select them to be on these teams, and we train them. They're equipped and assigned to resolve critical incidents involving field position, right? It's no public safety, but we're doing issues with field position, which would otherwise exceed the capabilities of traditional offensive and defensive schemes.